right now, I'm the editor for the unit newsletter for all the Houston area that I guess about 2,600 people read that every month. I play a lot of duplicate bridge. I'm a Diamond Life Master, which means that I played an awful lot of bridge and I win some of the time or I wouldn't have been there. Basically, I have something like 6,500 points or so for those people who keep track of that kind of stuff. I've been teaching bridge at the college now for about a year. Also teach at Thursday morning in the local bridge club. And that's off of exit 87. And Mary McDonald, who's the recorder here, is the president of that. And you know, she missed last time, so a lot of people were asking for her videos. I told them they were out of luck, she didn't come. So this time, if anybody asks, they'll be able to get it from Mary. The stuff I did in the fall, that's up on YouTube. I did look for it under Bridge in my name. And somebody told me it made it to PBS. So,
yay!
So it got it to PBS somehow. I don't know. I guess they just lifted it off of YouTube. What we're going to talk about today is the stuff that I see people doing wrong just all the time. And the number one thing that people do wrong is right on the opening lead. They just follow suit or do what they're going to do, and then they ended up sorry right afterwards. You should always pause on the opening lead and think about what you're going to be doing, whether you're declaring the hand or if you're defending the hand. Either one, you should think about and make your plan. For a couple reasons. If you don't pause, you might as well raise your hand and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Because you've just told your opponents that I don't think. You know, I just play cards. Even if you're not thinking, pause, let them think that you're thinking. A lot, you know, I played with some players who played a long time, and they think after trick one, and I can't tell you the number of times they're in the wrong hand. They took the trick in the wrong hand as declare. Or on defense, they end up pausing later on. If you end up pausing later on in the play, you're telling the declarer that you have a card. Like if you're thinking whether to cover or not, something that you see on the dummy, you should have thought about on trick one. Am I going to cover this card if they play it? Because if you don't, if you pause when they go to play it, you might as well cover it. You just told them you have it when you paused. So they'll play your pauses. Pause on trick one, take your time. Keep track of your entries. Whatever you're gonna plan it and do it. And most people don't. It's, well, I'll think about it when this trick is over. We'll get this trick over with. So that's the first one. The second one is leading high cards out of your hand. It's not always wrong, but it's usually wrong. Usually you want to lead toward a high card and not drop it out of your hand. If you are going to lead a high card out of your hand, what you should have, it should be supported. By supported means if I play the king, I better have the queen. Like king 3, 2, that's not a supported king. Leading that king out of your hand is typically wrong. If you have king, queen 3, it's okay against a suit contract. Suit contract, you only need 2 of them. So now that's okay to lead king. Against no trump, you need 3 of them. At the minimum, you need king, queen, 10 to lead the king out. You'd really like to have king, queen, jack, but you'll settle for king, queen, 10. It's like a lot of things. You can't always hold out for the perfect holding, right? Like, the perfect can't be the enemy of the good. So those are called natural leads. If you have king, 3, 2, you want to be leading to that king. You don't want to drop it out of your hand and hope that your partner has the ace. Similarly, if you have the ace, it's almost always wrong to lead it. A lot of people do, and what they say is, when you ask them, like I used to play with a really good player, when I did something that she didn't like, what she would always tell me is, what were you thinking? I heard that a lot. What were you thinking? Anyway, when I asked people why they led the ace, the standard response was, well, I wanted to see dummy. It's nice to have seen dummy, but it's not worth it. When you played the ace out of your hand like that, a couple bad things happen. One of them, the ace is a good card for your partner to reach you later on, right? That's called an entry, when your partner leads a suit to get to your hand. So if you played the ace, it's gone. You just gave up your entry to the hand. So if your partner wants to reach you later on, when you can see dummy and maybe lead through it, maybe dummy has the king on the board and your partner's here with the ace queen, and they dearly need to get you in to lead that suit, well, you just played your ace, so you're not getting in anymore.
Well, you play the ace, you promise the king.
Right, I'm just saying, right, if you have the king, it's correct. Yes, you're right. You are promising the king. The other thing is, when you play the ace, and your partner hasn't bid the suit, where's the most likely place for the king to be? You know, Cheryl.
He just told you a while ago.
The declare.
Right. Typically, the declare is the one who's going to have the king most of the time. They didn't get to be declare for nothing, right? Usually the declare has the best hand at the table. That's how they got the declare, right? They outbid the opponents, and they're playing it. So when you led the ace, you just made declare's king good. And that's like an old saying, aces are meant to take kings. You don't want aces to land on the air. What landing on the air means is all you took was a low card with your ace. And if you lead it, you could be sure that's what you're going to take with your ace, is low cards. You led the ace, and if you're really unlucky, your partner will have the queen, and the king jack will be behind the queen. Now you just set up the whole suit for him. Like, very few people are ever going to lead the ace if they're holding his ace queen, right? They got it that if the player has the king, I'm not leading out my ace. And so when the player's sitting there with the king jack, and there's a few little ones on the board, they're going to finesse your partner out of the queen, and you'll probably be looking for a new partner if you do that enough. The standard is you lead toward honors, you don't lead them out of your hand. The other thing I marked on the board, when you lead on the opening lead, like we're talking about now, that's not the same as when you're playing later in the hand. Later in the hand, you already saw a dummy, you have an idea of what your partner's signaling, you can see what the declarer is trying to do, so you have a lot more information the deeper you get in the hand. So stuff that you'd never do on the opening lead, you would do later on. And like a common thing, if you have ace king and a small one, and you're on opening lead, most of the people are going to lead the ace, right? That's kind of a standard. If you get in later on though, say you chose not to lead that, maybe you had a singleton that you chose to lead instead. If it's not the opening lead, which do you lead? The king, not the ace. Why? Because when you lead the king and it wins, your partner should be able to figure out that you have the ace, right? If the declarer had the ace, they would have took your king, right? So that's the difference between that holding on the opening lead and that holding later in the play. An event that I was in, my holding was ace and a couple little ones. And typically, you don't underlead aces on the opening lead either. Usually you don't underlead unsupported honors on an opening lead unless your partner bid it. If your partner didn't bid it, try and find something else to lead. Anyway, I'm holding ace, X, and a couple small ones. On the board, the dummy had the king, right? Declare has this. It's deep into the play, and we got to get 2 club tricks. And of course, my partner has, maybe it's that. And I'm on lead. Well, I'm never going to lead the ace, right? Unless they pay me. Like if they pay me, then I might. But if they don't, I'm not leading the ace. I could lead another suit, but all the other suits were unattractive for me. So I just lead one of my small ones. That'd be a bad lead on the opening lead. And now the declarer has to guess, right? And it was a very good declarer. It was in a tournament and they were the #1 seed and he was their best player. And now he has to decide what to play from the dummy. Well, you could see the cards, he can't. Basically, he should just win his king, right? Be happy, except he doesn't know where the ace is, right? If he comes up with the king and my partner has the ace and they come back through again, now my queen's over the jack. And, he sits there and he gets to squirm, right? And, he's trying to, neither my partner or I gave away anything with our body language, right? And basically, he played small, my partner won the queen, came back, I won the ace, and then they were down. They couldn't lose 2 club tricks. But, so later in the hand, you could do different things than you do in the beginning. Like I know we gotta take 2 club tricks, and we're never gonna get 2 club tricks if I play the ace out of my hand, right? One thing that I see people do wrong all the time is this holding. Their declare, and they have that, and they might have that on the board. They have no idea where the ace is. Nobody showed them their hand. Nobody bid anything to give them a clue. And they lead, they play it right. They play a small one toward the queen, right? And the queen wins, and you're happy, right? Right? The queen didn't go over under the ace, right? And then everybody's happy, right? And now what? Well, what I see people doing is, well, I led to the queen and that works. Let me lead to the king and see if that works. Well, that is never gonna work, right? When the queen won, this player doesn't have the ace. He's not saving it for a small card, right?
Except for maybe no trump.
Yeah, if they think you're gonna run the hand. But typically, even in no trump, you want to take the queen with your ace rather than a little card. You want to set something up in your partner's hand. Yeah, you might have a whole bunch of them where you know you can't set up your partner's hand. But typically, this hand doesn't have the ace, or they would have taken your queen. They're not saving their ace so they can take a small card. So when you play the suit again, when you come to that, what are you not going to play? King, right? You'd never play the king. Because the king's going to go under the ace for sure, right? What you're hoping for is you keep playing it and go up till the ace comes down. Keep playing little ones till the ace comes down once your queen wins. Right? So you play one of these little ones, and if you're real lucky, they have ace small, and their ace will land on the air, which is what you want. If you're not so lucky, they have 2 small ones, or they have the 10, or the jack. Well, then they'll win the jack, and then when you play your next small one, then the ace will come down. But you'd really like the ace to be doubleton. That's your favorite. Guess it right and have the ace doubleton. That's what you should pray for as soon as you start playing the hand. But in any case, I can't tell you the number of people, they lead to the queen and that works, and then they say, well, let's lead to the king, see if that works. Well, it's not gonna. Okay. Another common mistake, and I see people have been playing forever, and they do it wrong all the time. Say this hand bids a spade, and you have like 10, 7, 3 of spades, you have ace, king, 9x of hearts, you have queen, or ace, and you make it the king. How many points you got? Yeah, 14, right? That's an opening hand for anybody, right? What's your bid over one spade?
Take out double.
Nope.
No?
That's what most people would do, what Cheryl said.
What
I
did she
forgot,
say?
I've
She
got only
said to
two
make a
on the
takeout
clubs.
double. The reason, and that's what almost everybody does. And, but nobody who's any good does that. Basically, when you double, and Cheryl knew what you did wrong, right? Why can't you do it?
I didn't have a third club, I
Yeah.
also saw that.
Right, a takeout double, right? The double's for takeout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it promises an opening hand in support of the other three suits. That's what a takeout double promises. Well, you don't have and 3+ card support. And the other 3 suits. The exception is, how big a hand do you need to bid if you don't have that? Good 17. You have to have, if you don't have that, you're promising 17+ points to make that takeout double. If you can't stand for what your partner might bid, you have to have 17+ points. So with this hand, what Cheryl said, the second thing is right. You don't have it. You have to pass your opening hand. You would never pass that in first position, right? Like it's a clear opener. Everybody in the world would open that at diamond. Typically, you don't overcall 4-card suits. But if you do it, you should have the ace, king, queen. And you better have a partner who realizes that you might be doing that, because they might be raising you to the sky and you might be playing a 7-card fit. So this hand has to pass. And nobody likes doing it, but you should do it in tempo, right? You don't like to have the opponents watch you swerve. You would rather watch them swerve. If this hand passes, what are they telling you when that hand passed? What do they have? Less than 6 points, right? They got to answer. If you have 6 or more points, you must respond. Some people even stretch it to 5 or more points, but if you got 6, you better not pass. So this passes, so if they pass, that means less than 6 points. Now, you have a partner over here. How many points is that partner likely to have? Well, we don't know exactly what he has to open, but a typical opener is maybe 14 points. You got 14 points. So we'll guess that he has 14 points. You know you have 14 points.
28.
And yeah, that's 28. And this guy has less than 6. We'll give him 4. Maybe he has a couple queens. So what's your partner gonna have most of the time?
8 points.
He's gonna have 8 points. What do you do with the 8 points?
Can't.
It's called balancing. It has to do with protecting your partner's hand. Like, I don't have anything much, and you could probably figure out, right? They have an opening hand, you have an opening hand, unless this guy has a Yarborough, 0 points. I'm not gonna have a great hand. But I have to protect my partner's hand, because my partner could have an opener. He could have a hand where he has 14, 15, even 16 points, right? Like I could have given this hand another queen, and they still got to pass. Well, they might be able to open one no trump if I gave him a queen, but this hand with the 8 points has to balance. Balancing means bid. Keep the bidding opening. Don't let them steal it for their 1 spade bid. And you balance anytime you have 8 or more points. Like if you have less than 8 points, you can call it a day, right? Like your partner doesn't have more than 17. If you don't have 8, you're not missing much, right? But if you have 8 or more, you've got to bid, because we have over half the deck. We have 22 points. They only have 18. We're not letting them play 1 spade. But it's not this hand's job to bid what they don't have. It's this hand's job to balance. And a lot of people, they'll pass it and they'll say, well, I had 8 points. Yeah, you did, but I had 14, 15, 16 points here, but I just couldn't bid. Like I might have a hand where I can't bid 1 no trump. Like I could have maybe spades. I could have maybe ace, queen, a couple spades, ace, queen, a couple hearts, and then I could have ace,
So now.
right? So now I'm looking at 16 high card points. I still can't double. I'm not strong enough to, it's not 17 plus. I can't double and bid again. I don't have a suit that I could overcall in, and I'm sure not gonna bid 1 no trump with my singleton club, right?
No.
So I'm still gonna pass. And now, if my partner reopens by balancing, I know they have at least 8 points. Almost for sure we're gonna have a game. And if they passed with their 8 points, it'll be bad for us.
Well, what did South bid? You said 8 or points or more.
Well, bid what you're looking at. It depends what you have. Like if you have, typically, and it's a good question, if you have any 5-card suit other than spades, if you happen to have spades and a whole bunch of them, you probably want to defend, because now you figure the hands aren't going to fit. Let them go down instead of you. So if you happen to be long in their suit, you would pass. Like typically, mismatches are best played by the opponents, right? If you and your partner, if your hands don't fit together, you don't really want to play it and go down. That means the opponent's hands probably don't fit together either, and whoever plays it's going to go down. So if you have a bunch of spades, then you would pass. But most of the time you're not. So what you would do is, if you had a 5-card suit, show it. If you don't bid your 5-card suit, almost always it's going to be lost, right? If you've got 5 of them, there's only 8 of them out around the table, right? How likely it is that your partner's gonna bid your 5-card suit for you when there's only 8 of them around the table, right? Not likely. So if you have a 5-card suit, and I don't care if it's 5 to the 8, right? Any 5-card suit, you would bid it. If you don't have a 5-card suit,
Question.
go ahead.
Let's say, for example, South had 4 hearts and 5 diamonds. Would you tell them, would you say, go ahead and bid the 4 hearts because it's a major and
No.
hope that was a fit with
No.
your partner?
No.
No.
You
Okay.
never bid any 4-card suit. Your partner didn't double. If your partner doubled, now you would show your 4-card major, but your partner didn't. Your partner just passed. So for you to trot out your own suit, you should have 5 of them. So you would bid 2 diamonds. If you don't have a 5-card suit, now what are you gonna do? Yeah, double, right? You would double. The double says I have 8 or more points and I don't have a 5-card suit. That's exactly what the double means. I have 8 or more, I don't have a 5-card suit, you can pick the suit. If I have a 5-card suit, I'm picking it. Like if you don't like it, you know, you could change it, but I'm telling you I got a 5-card suit. And a lot of bridge is negative inference. It's also what I don't do, right? If I don't bid a suit, I'm telling you I don't have a 5-card suit. So that's another common mistake. Either this guy will bid or this guy won't. Reverses. What a reverse is, if I open the lower of 2 ranking suits and then I bid at the 2 level, the higher one, like something like this. I bid a diamond, my partner bids a spade, and now I bid 2 hearts. That's reverse. And the reason it's reverse, what that shows is 17 plus points at least 5 diamonds and at least 4 hearts. Lots of people do that when they don't have any 17 points, right? What they do is they have this hand. Spades will have. Or even worse, well, we'll leave it like that for now. How many points is that?
13.
Yeah, it's 13. And they'll open it a diamond. Your partner will bid The spade, well, they're not gonna support their partner's spades with king small, right? And, well, I got a heart suit, they'll trot it out and they'll say two hearts, right? That happens all the time, right? And say your partner's hand is this. And what do you want him to do? What would you like him to do now that you bid two hearts?
Go fast.
Yeah, you can try that. It's always good, right? Yeah, yeah, tell him to try and bid two diamonds, see if you can slip it by him, right? But yeah, that's,
Two
yeah.
no trumps
Yeah, if you could-
suggesting that you have stoppers in the other two suits.
and a lot of people would do that, except, and your bid is fine if your partner really had a reverse. So your bid is correct, what you're saying is right, but you're sitting here with this, so what do you want him to do? Not two no trump, because you think you're gonna be making two no trump?
Not to it.
No, not likely. You're basically, what you'd like to be in this hand is as low as possible, right? It's a mismatch. The higher you go, the more likely it is that you're going down.
So put them back in their first suit.
Right, that's, if, yeah, you could put them back in their first suit since you don't want to play in a 6-card heart suit, right? That could never be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 diamonds. You think you're gonna be making 3 diamonds? Not unless you pay him on defense. You won't be making 3 diamonds. And that's why this hand, you can't reverse with this, because what Cheryl said is right. What you did is what she said, you're making your partner go to a higher level than you can make. That's why you can't reverse unless you have this. If you have this hand, you cannot reverse. And you gotta realize, if I do reverse, if my partner has an ordinary hand, we're gonna get too high, and I'm the one who pushed us too high.
I don't know, you might make two no trump as much as you might two hearts.
Well, not two hearts, but I don't think
I
you
don't
would-
know what's a
well,
good, but it may not be any
What tricks are you
worse.
taking with that? 2 spades, a heart, 2 diamonds is 5, and maybe a club. It looks to me like you're taking 5 or 6 tricks, which is not what you want to be doing when you're in 2 no trump. The point is, this hand cannot reverse, and they got to realize that on their first bid. 1 diamond is your only opener, right? You don't really have any choice but to open this 1 diamond. When your partner bids 1 spade, and this is also a good point. When you bid 1 no trump, what are you showing?
17.
Yeah. No, well, if you open 1 no trump, it's 15 to 17, but in this auction, 1 diamond, 1 spade, and then you rebid 1 no trump. That's a weak hand. That's a minimal opener, like 11 or 12 to 14. That's what you have. 1 no trump, and that shows like 11 or 12 to 14 points. It doesn't mean you have all the suits stopped. Matter of fact, most of the time you won't. You only have 11 to 14 points, how are you gonna have all the suits stopped most of the time? You don't have enough points to stop them. So it shouldn't bother you that you don't have them stopped, because unless it's your lucky day, you won't. So with this hand, that's the proper bid. You tell your partner, yeah, I got a minimal opener. We'll play one no trump unless you have more to show me. And then with this hand, with responder, you rarely bid a 5-card suit. It's almost always wrong. With that hand, you would just let him play one no trump. Better to go down 1 and 1 no trump than 2 or 3 at a higher level. And who knows? If you're lucky, you might even make 1 no trump. How would you make it if you had to play this?
Maybe you could develop a spade.
Exactly. You would pray. That'd be the first thing you would do. You would pray. And then what you would do is you would play on spades because, or diamonds, right? Now, probably diamonds would be better. What you want to do is set up a long suit. And setting up the diamonds is probably better than setting up the spades because you have more entries. But you still have an entry problem in either one, but it's more likely you get to your hand. And so typically you would set up the diamonds, and you could see the only real entry you have other than diamonds is the king of spades, right? You could get to your hand with the king of spades. So you probably set up the diamonds. How would you play the diamonds?
Let them take a trick.
Yeah, exactly right. You're gonna lose a trick for sure, right? They have Queen Jack 10, right? They're all not gonna come down on the first 2 tricks, right? Let them have a diamond, just throw them in. And usually right away. Don't let them figure anything out. Like if you're gonna try and get something by the defense, do it immediately before they could figure out what's going on. If you save it for later in the hand, a good defender will know what's going on, and they're gonna make it hard for you. So typically, if you're gonna try and get by with something without revealing anything about your hand, but you don't really wanna reveal anything about your hand, you just play one of these little diamonds, let them have it. And then, if you're real lucky, the diamonds will go 3-3, and you'll get 4 diamond tricks. If you're not real lucky, maybe you'll be able to get 3 diamond tricks when you get back to your hand with the king of spades, if they don't knock it out first. Anyway, that's a lot of people, they say, well, I don't play reverses. Reverses are not a convention. It's not something like unusual 2 no trump or Michaels. Things like that are conventions. This is not a convention. This is a natural part of bridge. As soon as this guy goes 2 hearts, what he's saying is, it's okay if we go to the 3 level if you put me back in diamonds. You don't want to be at the 3 level with this hand, that's the point.
So to bid that, Jeff, then you'd bid your diamond, the person would bid their spade, and I know, 1 no trump.
One no, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Got it.
Okay, another common thing is that people get wrong is doubles. most people are afraid of penalty doubles. They don't want to double because all they think about is, what if they make it? You know, that'll be embarrassing to me, right? I just doubled them, and then they made it, and now I'm gonna be embarrassed. And that's how most people play, and so they don't double nearly enough. Part of bridge is, to be a good player, you have to have kind of a thick skin, and if you double them and they make it, you can't let it bother you. You gotta learn to shrug that off. And sometimes some opponents are not particularly gracious, right? They make the doubles contract and they have a lot to say. Sometimes they even give you advice. Usually people don't give me advice, but they give lots of people advice. And they give you advice, and it's almost certainly wrong, and but they're real smug about it. When you double, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna set you every single time. If you wait for that, what'll happen is if you play against good players, what they'll get is you only double if it's a for sure thing. So I could bid with impunity. I could just bid away because you're not gonna double me, and even though it's your contract, and even though you're gonna set me, you're not gonna set me enough to make up for the game that I just stole from you. And that's what's gonna happen when you have the reputation of being too scared to double. You can't be too scared to double. And the rule of thumb is when you double them for a penalty, you should be setting them 2 out of 3 times. 1 out of 3 times they should make it. And that's fine. When they do, you just shrug it off, play the next hand. It's not that I got it for sure. And that's a common thing because people are afraid, they're embarrassed when they double and the opponents make it. Don't be embarrassed. You can tell them I said it was right. And part of how also a lot of people play is when they bid, when they defend, when they declare, what goes through their mind is, what's the worst thing that could happen to me? And then the second thing is, I'm gonna make sure it doesn't. It's not that kind of game, just like the doubling. You wanna do what works most of the time. It's not an all the time game. If it works most of the time, then you did the right thing. If it didn't work on that particular hand, that's just bridge. You gotta just shrug it off. It doesn't mean you did something wrong because it didn't work, and it didn't mean that they did something right if it did work. It's a statistical game. Sometimes you're gonna do the right thing and you're gonna get punished for it. Count on it. And it's that kind of game. And you can't let it bother you. And you should play for what's gonna happen most of the time. It's a most of the time game, not the worst thing. The other thing is they learn these rules, and the rules, unless you get past the beginner part, they don't consider your position at the table. 6 of these. So I have that hand, right? I got 6 spades, 2 hearts, 4 diamonds, and 1 club. How many points I got?
3 points.
Yeah, 3 high card points. And typically, if you have a halfway decent suit, like you'll add a point for your 5th and 6th one. So you got 3 high card points. And if I add a point for these long spades, I could add another 2 for my spade length. That gives me 5 points, right? If I pick this hand up in first position, what am I gonna do with it? Right, I can't pass fast enough, right? There's really nothing to think about, right? If I pick it up in second position, now what am I gonna do with it? Pass, right? It's still a terrible hand. It didn't get any better just because I'm in second position. It's a terrible hand. It's not worth bidding in the first 2 positions. Third position. And I'm not vulnerable, right? And they are.
There's more over here. They might probably want to answer them.
Let's try. And the opponents are vulnerable. And now I pick up this hand. What's different about third position? Why?
See, light.
Why? Why can't I?
Your partner's already passed.
Yeah, that's the key. My partner already passed, right? That's why I'm in third position, right? It went pass to me. And that means my partner passed. If my partner passes, what's the most points that he can have? 11 on a good day, right? So, in third position, partner has no more than 11 points. And I got 3 high card points, right? That means my opponents have how many points?
A lot.
At least 26, right? They have at least 26 points. And that means what?
Should be their bid.
Not just their bid, but what?
Their game.
Their game. They're making a vulnerable game. The opponents have a vulnerable game. And when they had, and usually when your opponents have that many points, they're gonna find your vulnerable game. It's usually not real hard when you have 26 or more points to find your game. Unless what?
You say 2 spades, that's a little scary, they have to come up with 3.
Yeah, the point is, get in the way. You have very little to lose. You're not vulnerable. They are. They have a vulnerable game. You have nothing. You want to get in the way. You could do what Cheryl did and bid 2 spades. What would I bid?
3.
3 every time. 3 spades. And part of it is don't squirm around, right? If you squirm around, you're telling your opponents that there's something to think about, right? That's why you're squirming. Something's bothering you. You're squirming at the table. A good player will read your swerves. Like as soon as I picked up that hand in third position, what would go through my mind, if it goes pass to me, that 3-spade bid is gonna be on the table as soon as it's my turn. They're gonna play me for 7 spades. I don't care if they do or not. Almost for sure, they're not doubling me for penalty. And if it's hard to bid over 2 spades, how hard is it to bid over 3 spades? And if their contract is 3-0 trump, it's particularly hard to find it now. If one of them has just 1 spade stopper, one has the ace, one has the king. So the point is, the position at the table should affect how you're thinking. And that's kind of the classic case. When you're third position, non-vulnerable, and you're sitting with a pile of garbage, which this is, the weaker I am, the more for sure I am to bid. I had that hand one time at a tournament. And I was playing against really good players. Like when I go to a tournament, usually they stratify it. That means you play with people who are like yourself, which almost guarantees that I'm gonna be playing against really good players. And when I picked up that hand, now I got 5 spades. 3 spades. Like as soon as I picked it up, I knew that they had game if my partner passed. And I knew that they're finding it for sure. So typically, you know, my philosophy is the stronger the players are, the more you gotta get in their way when you have the opportunity. And you don't bid and then come back and bid again when you preempt. Whenever you preempt, whatever you're gonna do, you do it first shot. Like don't bid 2 spades and then bid 3 spades later on. And when I looked at this, I figured I got nothing. My partner doesn't have enough to stop him. I'm gonna bid 3 spades. Let's see what they do. What they did, they went on to slam. And part of the reason they went on to slam is they both thought that the other one was real short in spades because they heard me preempt. And we were able to get a spade trick to set them because neither of them was real short in spades. Because I only had 5 and they were playing me for 7. They didn't like it, but that was all right. They're not supposed to like it. Okay, I got a hand that I wanna show you. And we'll look at it, a more advanced hand after this one, but here's my hand. I have no spades. My hearts are ace, king, jack, 10, 6, 5, 3. No, I do have spades. I have the jack, 7 of spades, diamonds, 9, 4, clubs, ace 2. My partner, ace, king, 6, 5, 2, hearts, queen, 8, diamonds, jack, 8, 7. My partner is the dealer, and they bid 1 spade. And my bid's pretty easy, right? 2 hearts, right? By the way, when you bid 2 hearts over 1 spade, you're showing 5 of them. That's what that means. 1 spade, 2 hearts. That shows 5. And of course, I have 7 of them. And with the system that I was playing with this partner, we were playing 2 over 1, so this is forcing the game. That means my partner can't stop bidding till we reach game. What I would do with this hand is over 2 hearts is it's kind of flat. You already showed 5 spades. I bid 2 now. My partner didn't. They bid 2 spades. It is okay to rebid a 5-card suit as opener. People get that turned around wrong a lot. As responder, it's almost always wrong to rebid a 5-card suit. You should have 6. But it's not a horrible bid that they bid 2 spades, but to me, 2-no is a more descriptive bid. You don't have any singletons, and you're kind of flat. Anyway, it didn't matter to me. We're playing hearts, 3 hearts. And then the 3-heart bid shows, like I said, 6. I would rebid it with 5. And then 4 hearts. So that's the auction, and I'm playing it. And it's very easy to make 4 hearts. It's almost impossible not to, right?
Right.
Like, you're not going to lose any spades. You're not going to lose any hearts. The worst you could lose is 2 diamonds, right? So everybody in the room is making 5. And if they lead a diamond, there's nothing you can do about it if they take the 2 diamonds off the top. But they don't. What this hand has is and they don't get to see that their partner has the king of diamonds, right? And so it's not a normal lead to play diamonds when you're sitting there with the ace queen. So what they led was the queen of clubs, right? Which now gives me the chance.
9 points.
Pardon?
9 points still is leading. Oh. Huh?
Yeah, they have 9 points and they're on the opening lead. And, you know, they never really had a chance to bid. By the time it reached them on the first time, we already were at 2 hearts, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, went 1 spade, 2 hearts. So you're probably not gonna bid 3 clubs after they said they had all those points. So they led, you know, a suit contract, the queen of clubs, promising the jack, right? And the idea is to get as many tricks as possible since they didn't take their diamond right away. And again, think about it. On your first lead, which are you gonna win, the ace or the king of clubs? Well, the other thing to think about, how are you gonna make as many tricks as you can? It's kind of like the last hand, you're gonna do what? You're gonna set up the spades, right? You can set up the spades to get rid of those, right? That's what should be going through your mind.
You take it from the short side?
It doesn't have to do with the short side, it has to do with, I wanna keep this as an entry. So it's not that it's the short side, I wanna leave the king of clubs on the board, so after I start playing spades, I can get over there again. What I should be thinking about is I'm gonna pull trump, right? There's no sense getting over roughed, right? The first step, unless you have a good reason not to, is pull trump. So I'm gonna pull trump, and this is what I should be thinking about. I'm gonna pull trump, and when all the trumps are out, I'm gonna play spades, right? After the trumps are out, and I'm gonna then spades, I'm gonna play the ace, I'm gonna play the king, and I'll play ace and a small one, not the ace in it, or a small one right away, like we said, like I'll give him a spade, or I'll play based on how good the defenders are, right? Anytime they switch to a diamond, it's gonna be bad. So I would typically play the ace king, rough it, come back to my hand, and then back to the club, and whatever. And then hopefully this one will be good, and they'll only get 1 diamond trick, right? Like I'm hoping that the spades will go 3-3, and as you see, they do, right? This hand has 3, this hand has 3. So when I go ace king, right, I can't put them in, those go. Then I play the 6, I rough it with one of my hearts, come back to the king of clubs, and the last 2 spades will be good to get rid of the diamonds. Yeah? Anyway, it's something, the key to it is, there's 2 keys to it. One of them, if I'm gonna get every trick I can, I gotta take advantage of my long suit. The other key to it is, I'm not gonna be able to take advantage of my long suit if I use the king of clubs on the first lead. Right? If I lead the king of clubs, I don't have any way out there. Like, I can't play spades without pulling trump, or they'll get roughed, right? All right, let's take a break for about 5-10 minutes.